In July, minutes after the ceasefire was announced, Thailand kept on saying that Cambodia broke ceasefire. Yet, 4 months later, it is now revealed it was Thailand who violated the ceasefire. And the next day, when commanders from both sides are supposed to meet, a ceasefire violation was once again reported. But this time, it was Cambodia who suffered the casualty, and the Cambodian soldiers were captured.
And 100 days later, despite saying that Thailand wants peace, the soldiers who were detained unlawfully have not been returned. And on the day they were supposed to be released, the Thai's military opened fire on unarmed civilians. Once again, Cambodia is the country who suffered the casualty. This time, civilians. Yet the Thai's military blame game continues. First, it was fake news. Then, it was Cambodia opened fire first. This is the false beauty of nationhood, and it's getting exposed. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholders. But in today's world, the beholders are distracted. Their eyes don't rest, they scroll, react, and forget.
These days we have 24-hour news. The sound bites never stop, and the wars never stop.
As long as it disturbs society, as long as...
That is a documentary that I used to watch a while back, and it's on the war you don't see. And what he said is completely true. In today's world, you and I, we have so many ways of getting our news. But we have a massive problem. And the problem is that government and nation want to dress themselves as being good. So there are narratives to achieve that goal. And then it's not just one narrative, it's multiple narratives. Because the moment they publish one, we want to fact check it. They move on to the second one, the third one, the fourth one. The cycle keeps on repeating. And it's made worse with today's journalism. Journalism today is about chasing algorithm benefits. It's about being the first to publish something. And then it's coupled with the fact that in today's society, you and I, we live in a world where attention span has never been shorter. So what will we get? Well, this is the result of the combining three factors.
Since the government cannot follow public opinion anymore, public opinion must follow the government. And therefore, you have to create a new way, a scientific way, to persuade public opinion.
And with all of those 3 points combined, as I am reading more research on how it affects civilians in all countries, it seems to me that the government has found a way to control its citizen without the citizen knowing. Meaning that in general, government should listen to public opinions. But there is somehow a way in today's society to engineer narrative so the public opinion is forced to listen to them. I'll give you a good example. In many countries around the world, military plan coups in order to overthrow the government. But in most cases, civilians would not support military action, right? No one won war. And although the ideas of us not condoning violence, military and war may hold true, today we are living in a new era. An era where misinformation can easily spread. And so military takes advantage of that. And instead of hurting the civilians who are doing protests, or instead of forcibly censoring news, and these are some more examples how military react when people oppose them. But today, in 2025, the Thai's military deploy a new method. And this is the picture we have. They are now engineering narrative, creating an enemy for the public to band together. So now, in the name of self-defense, protecting sovereignty, publics are now banding together toward an enemy. And the only one who gained from this scenario would be the military, who would rise in power. And in 2025, we are seeing pictures of that happening. Military takes advantage of chaos happening in the country to seize power. And another example of this happening is in Madagascar, where a youth-led protest has become somewhat of a military coup.
In Madagascar, Colonel Michael Ranjan says he expects to be sworn in as the country's new leader within days. The announcement comes after soldiers ousted President Andry Rajoelina following weeks of youth-led protests.
And another example is in Thailand, where over 80% of people, including Gen Z, are in support of military leadership to solve the problem with Cambodia. Again, like I said, engineering narrative, creating an enemy for the public to ban, creating a reason, a justification, even when that country has so far less military power than you. The public still believe that country is a threat. And in this conflict between Cambodia and Thailand, the only party that gained the most from it is Thai's military. Because for the longest time, when Thai's military planned a coup, their popularity basically dwindled. But today, almost everyone in Thailand are in full support of Thai's military. And so essentially, we're now living in a world where military today wants to be your friend, to get you on their side so that they can gain power, popularity, and people forget that violence is not a good thing, a good way to solve conflict. And so, yeah, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But maybe that's the problem. We have now stopped beholding. This is about how nation cares more about dressing themselves with nice headlines instead of mutual understanding. And it's about how nationalism turns into noise and how a nation's beauty is nothing but falsehood projected for you to see.
By severely limiting access to verified sources, only intensified the problem. In those conditions, information thus became a social product, shaped by interactions, emotions, and shared beliefs.
And I want to focus this idea of false beauty of a nation on this part of Southeast Asia of Cambodia and Thailand. First, because this topic has been covered many times on the West already. But second, because I am a Cambodian. And let me tell you, for the first time, having lived in Cambodia for all 25 years of my life, having friends before from Thailand and having friendly banter with them, I have never seen military, influencers who have millions of followers, and normal citizens, media, reporters, news reporter, banding together against Cambodia.
I've seen some of the videos that were quite horrific. Gangs of Thai youth attacking Cambodian migrant workers who had nothing to do with what is going on between the two countries. I mean,
Pingamol, celebrity, the public figure of Thailand, she making fun of making videos, pretend to be deaf cause of the gas from sushi food. She making fun of the toxic gas that Thai soldiers were used on Cambodian people.
Using discriminatory words, insulting, calling Cambodians beggars, using police violence against villagers, and also using sound of ghosts to fuel superstitions against villagers so they cannot sleep, supported by military. All of that are either overshadowed by newer narrative or they are just flat out ignored. And I've never seen that happen ever in my life. And somehow, at the end of the day, Cambodia is the one who is at fault. And Thailand is a nation representing A, B, and C. That is a classic example of how bigger medias today build appearances and not build facts. And so, coupled with all of the points I mentioned with shorter attention span, people not really digging deep in all of the news source, and government essentially finding ways to fuel more hatred, to fuel more rage, it led to a case where government can bully smaller country and just continue on bullying without any repercussion. Because you can imagine, Cambodia is a country with 8 times smaller the size of military compared to Thailand. And so we don't want this war, and while Cambodia, my country, is trying to end this conflict, Thailand, even after the ceasefire, you can check, they have been continually pestering people at the borders and trying to provoke Cambodia to continue the war. But they received no repercussion. On the front page, their appearance, their beauty seems almost too good to be true. They call for self-defense when they make threat to a country smaller than them. They use police violence against villagers at the border, saying that they are trying to protect their sovereignties but attacking unarmed villagers. And almost 70 days after the ceasefire has been agreed, today, they have not released the 18 soldiers that have been captured unlawfully. Which, by the way, when the soldiers were captured, it was during the time when the ceasefire was agreed. No Thai soldier got killed, but a Cambodian soldier during that time got killed, and the rest were captured as prisoners of war.
Both countries are agreeing to cease all hostilities and work to build good neighborly relationships, which have already started. 18 Cambodian prisoners of war will be released, and under this agreement, observers from ASEAN countries including Malaysia, will be deployed to make sure that the peace prevails and endures. I have no doubt that it will.
But despite all of that, even until now, the Thai's military is still somehow able to keep its good image. And to add a bit more context, for the past decades already, Cambodia and Thailand has had minor skirmishes before. But this 2025 is the first time where Thai military has support from its citizens. Yes, citizens are now somehow convinced that military action is the best way to settle dispute between another country. And I want to remind you of an important context that has been missing in this sea of narrative, and it is a phone call between Thailand Prime Minister, who was ousted due to ethical violation, and Cambodia former Prime Minister. The phone call was about Thailand former Prime Minister openly admitting that Cambodia should not listen to Thai's military, and that there is sort of a power struggle between the civilian government and the military. The phone call was leaked. I already explained the reason very clearly in my previous video, and she asked the former Prime Minister to not listen to the opposing side, who is the Thai General Commander, who is the 2nd Army Region Commander. But a lot of what people fail to mention is before the call and right after the call, we can see Cambodian's position. Firstly, Cambodian adjusted its troops after the talk with Thai's military. However, Thai military made a statement saying that Cambodian withdrew its troops. But then the phone call happened, Cambodian Prime Minister expressed his concern and frustration, and Thai PM also agreed with the commitment. But on the 16th and the 17th, Thai Tongtan made a public statement, a remark calling Cambodian unprofessional in handling the border issue. That is literally her statement recorded. But right now, that entire context has been missing, and the civilians in Thailand right now, they are openly supporting military leadership. Okay, on the topic of military leadership, I just want to inject a bit of context, because you might be asking me, why does Thailand citizens support the military? And that's exactly what I was thinking. I already made a video about it, but Thailand, for the last 1 century, it has always been about the monarch, the king, ruling over the armed force, the military. And so it's in a very weird position where it's shouts democracy, but whenever one party, the civilian government, gain popularity, there is a conflict of interest, and that is why we see a military coup succession rate of over 60% in Thailand. And what makes it worse than a military coup is the fact that children have to learn nationalistic agenda, enroll in military programs since they were very young.
Here, schools across Thailand will teach history as a main subject to instill the youth with pride in their own country and to preserve Thai heritage. This has sparked questions as to whether the government move has a hidden agenda.
And despite making all of that efforts, the Thai's military has been quite unpopular from time to time unless they have a coup. And it's understandable because majority of human beings, I would say in my opinion, are inherently good people. We don't want violence in life. But we are easily tricked when divided, when there is an enemy where we can band together against. We support the leader who would lead us to go against that enemy. And it's a clear example that we see in 2025 that Thai's military has turned from being not very popular to now walking into campus, being saluted, being applauded. And it's such a crazy point of view from me as a Cambodian, as my country is getting all of these attacks, and there the military just goes into campus being applauded and being hailed just like a superstar. And it goes back to what the research is about. Thailand has had this power struggle between the military and the civilian government for ages. So if the military suddenly go to the Gen Z, the people that let me take power, do you think they would agree? No. And so to make the public opinion listen to them, they have to engineer all of these using social science. And the fact that Thailand has this idea since they were young about Cambodia, about neighboring countries, it's very easy. And that is why we see these ugly pictures of almost racism, of discriminations, not just from normal citizens, but from media, influencers, reporters from Thai who have these bad and negative outlooks toward Cambodia. And it's not just that, it's also about all of the bombardment of lies mixed in with a sprinkle of truth and so much narrative being repeated and being recycled. The moment one narrative ends, people try to fact check, they move on to the next narrative, being the first to blame, being the first to accuse. The cycle keeps on repeating. to the point where almost everyone in Thailand now believes Cambodia is this bad country. And somehow we are also human like them, but they think that we are bad. And even their influencers, those who people look up to with millions of followers, use bad words, discriminatory words, as well as attempting to rent out a poop truck to spray at villagers. Influencers doing that.
Cambodian legal experts are raising serious concerns over Thailand's proposal to unilaterally cancel the 2000 Memorandum of Understanding, warned that Thailand's withdrawal would breach its obligations and could lead to diplomatic fallout or even sanctions.
MOU agreement that has been signed and agreed by both countries lasted for more than 2 decades are now getting a campaign to get it revoked based on a popularity vote with no consent by another party that signed with you. And guys, those are just a small part among a bigger sea of narrative and stories that has happened in the past couple of months. You can go and check below. But essentially, Thailand suffered no repercussion. And it's all because of what I just said. Today's appearance, what looks good, override what is good. So I want to end this video on a very short note, and I am a Cambodian. I'm an ordinary citizen. I have lived here for all 25 years of my life, and I do know there are problems in Cambodia. But I also see solutions being offered to solve those problems. Problems that exist in Cambodia are the same as problems that exist in other countries. And so what I just shared earlier, whether you believe me or not, let me just give you a very simple analogy. Talking about Cambodian safety, you can check Google Map reviews, you can check vlogs on YouTube. You can see Cambodia is a safe place because you check it. You review what is happening through other humans, not because of the news telling you to believe it, because of human-to-human interactions, seeing how other humans interact with a country. And so what I just shared, you can go ask a Cambodia or come to Cambodia to explore for yourself and see what is actually happening. Or you can check both sides of the story to see what is actually happening. And so please just do review on that, because I am a Cambodian and it hurts me to see what Cambodia is somehow being labeled as. And it also is crazy the fact that in 2024 it seems completely fine. There was no problem, even politically. But in Thailand we can see there are political struggle over the past few years. But now in 2025, people are suddenly supporting the military against this enemy called Cambodia. And people around the world who, again, I do understand, they don't have the time to pay attention, but they just listen to this media machine purporting all of this information. And yeah, I do understand Cambodia media is small, but hopefully this video can serve you as a starting point for you to actually look deeper into other issues, and or even talk with other people from that specific area to understand even more, and not to be, I would say, puppeteered by this media manipulation. And yeah, that is it for my video. If you enjoy it, be sure to drop a like and a subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks, goodbye, and peace.